Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to shoot a compound bow. I'm going to teach you the rules, safety, what you'll need, and how to shoot it correctly, the proper way to pull it back, the proper way to pull the trigger, and just the simple basic things you need to know about shooting a compound bow. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a release. This is right here. So depending on if you're left or right-handed dominant, depending on which way you're more comfortable with. Me, I'm right-handed. So what it's going to do is you're just going to put it around your wrist here, and then you're going to make sure it's on there secure. So you're just going to tie it on there, that way it doesn't come off and it stays on there at all times. That's one of the key things you'll need to pull back a compound bow. They're not very easy to pull back with your fingers like the Native Americans could do. Their bows were actually a lot simpler. They were just recurve bows, which were just, kind of just a big loop here with a string right down the side connected to both ends, and they just pulled it back. Totally different from our compound bows today. Compound bows today are a lot more advanced. They shoot faster, more accurate, and they're just a totally different type of shooting compared to what the Native Americans did back in the day. What you're going to need also is some arrows. I have two here today to show examples on how to shoot. You'll need your arrows. You'll have to have two of the same colored fletching and one different. This is just so you know how to nock your arrow here. This is what we call the nocking pin. This will actually connect it to the string on the bow. And you'll need some field point tips, which are these right here. They're target tips is what we call them. That way you're not tearing up your target every time you go and shoot. You'll need a bow, which is this right here. And this here is your sight. It's got different pins on it. Each pin is a different yardage. So you'll start with your first one, which is this very top one here, which is your 20, and then it goes 30, 40, 50, 60, depending on how comfortable you are shooting. So me, I only have mine set up to my 50-yard pin. That's where I'm comfortable at shooting, and if I go any further than that, it's not going to be really effective for me. So then this here is your sight. It's what we call a peep sight. So when you pull it back, this will actually get tighter, and you'll actually be able to see through this little hole here at your target. That's just one of those nice little easy ways to shoot and sight in your bow. This here is for your release. You'll connect your release to it, and it helps you give leverage to pull back your bow. Also right up front here we have what we call a riser. So this will stand up when you pull your bow back and hold your arrow out at a straight angle here, so it's completely straight. And then you have your grip here with a little string. This string helps you so when you actually shoot, when you let go of the bow, it'll actually catch it for you, so you won't actually drop your bow ever. So we're going to teach you how to do this. We're going to start with the first arrow here. What you're going to do is you're going to make sure you nock it correctly. So you're going to want this white fletching up. So then you'll just knock it in right here, and then you'll make sure it sits in your riser correctly. So you'll make sure it sits right in here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to knock it in this right here so it's nice and tight. You're going to go back to your spot. You're going to have a wide base so your feet are shoulder width apart. You're going to make sure this is here. You want to angle it down when you pull it back. That'll give you the leverage to pull it back. So when you pull it back, you're going to go up, you're going to go back. Then you're going to have your resting point here, which is mine is right behind my ears where my thumb goes, and then my pointer finger here rests on my cheek. This is your trigger finger, so you don't want to put it anywhere near the trigger until you're ready to shoot. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay your face here. You're going to look through your peephole. Make sure you have your target. And then when you're ready to shoot, you're going to breathe in and out, and on your way out, you're going to let the target pull the trigger and let the bow fall out of your hand. Another key point here is make sure this isn't completely straight out. You want a little bend in it, so when you do let it go, that string doesn't come back and snap you in your arm here. And when you make sure you don't put your finger anywhere near the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Same with gun safety, you don't want your finger anywhere near it until you're ready to shoot. You also want to make sure of your target beyond. So when you get ready to shoot, you pull back, you make sure there's nothing back behind you that you could hit in case you miss. And you want to make sure that if you're shooting with a group of people, everybody's behind you and away from you, so that if something does happen, like I have heard of arrows exploding, or even the strings and cams coming off, which these here are your cams. if they're not put on right, they will come off and your bow will shatter. So you just want to make sure that it's all set up and secure, and you just want to make sure everybody else is out of the way, not bothering you, and you got a clear head. You want to make sure you have nothing, you know, you're not mad, you're not sad, you just want to make sure you're clear, so when you're shooting, you're more than likely to hit the target and you're relaxed. That's one of the key points to shooting any kind of weapon, is being relaxed. And make sure you have a clear head. Don't put your finger on the trigger till you're ready. Just key safety points that you need for shooting any kind of weapon. Very important. That way you're not hurting anybody or yourself. So we're going to do another example here. This time I'm going to get my hair out of the way so you guys can actually see where I put my anchor point at. So what we're going to do is we're going to knock it again. So you're going to stick it right in there. Make sure you see the fletching's up. It's facing up this way. That way it doesn't catch on my riser when it goes through. So then put your release in. It's nice and tug. And then you're going to angle it down. Pull back. And then here's my resting point right here. You can see it right there. See, I just pointed it that way. It's bad. Make sure you just keep it right in that same spot every time. That way you know you're shooting the same way each and every time. You're going to put it up. You're going to make sure you have an open hand down here. You're going to relax. And breathe in. And let go and out. And you're just going to let the bow fall. Way to assess this in a gym class would to make sure they are safety. So make sure if you have a group of kids going, make sure everybody stays back while everyone's shooting. That's another key point. Safety is a big thing, especially in high school and teaching them how to shoot bows. So I'd probably just do a rubric on safety for one. Make sure they're pulling it back correctly. With a recurve, which you'd probably have them shoot in high school, instead of using release, they just put their two fingers here. Each finger, one would go above the arrow and one would go below the arrow. So make sure they have those two fingers there. And then also just on making sure they follow directions. Like when they're shooting a recurve, they're going to look at the field point on the actual arrow instead of using a sight like I just did. They're going to look, when they pull it back, they're going to look at the end of this right here. And that will be their sight. That's how they did it. The Native Americans did it. They just looked at the end of their field point here to make sure they, you know, hit the target. So these here, you know, Native Americans actually used arrowheads. These here are what we use. We call these our broadheads, and they're really sharp. They got sharp edges all along here. This is really sharp, the point here. And these just, you know, they unscrew out of the arrows. You just unscrew it from here and put the next one in. That's all you would have to do. So I hope you guys really like this and learned something, and have a good day.